Hello, I am Jay Nicole, a contemporary romance author with over 40 books published. In this video, I want to let you in on the process of creating a new project. So I just completed the third book in a series, a sports romance. So now it is time to start something new. The last book ended up being over 70,000 words, and I was able to complete it in under a month. I've been releasing at least one book a month for the past year, and I hope what I share in my videos will help you commit to writing more consistently, whatever that looks like for you. So, since I ended one book, it's time to start another. It's a little like Groundhog Day, if I'm being honest. I usually write Monday through Friday, a few hours each day at least. Sometimes I write on the weekends, but that's only if I'm not hitting my word count goals for the week. And usually that happens when other things in life are happening too. Say, for instance, I need to go to the kids' school for some event, or I need to take them to the doctor's appointment, or any other number of things that could be happening because life is still happening regardless of the fact that I need to get words in. So do know that I am not just holed away in my office all day, every day writing. I do take breaks and I am only working during the week. But again, I am a full-time author, so I do have that luxury of writing throughout the day. But still, these tips could help you write around your busy schedule because once upon a time I was working full time and doing all types of other things while I still managed to write. Little fun fact, when I wrote my first book, Freshman 15, I was pregnant, working full time, and finishing up my master's program. Back then, I didn't sleep much at night, so I would pull out my laptop and get in a lot of words. Since then, before I became a full-time author, I would write either early in the morning or late at night, and sometimes laying in the bed on my phone, I'd find time to write. I just wasn't able to get in as many words, but I try to remain consistent. So if this video had to have a theme, I would say consistency is key. So what does starting a new book look like for me? Well, it's getting to know my characters, outlining the plot, and writing the blurb. Before I start writing, I have some idea of what the story I want to tell looks like. At the beginning of the year, I draft out a release schedule which tells me which books I want to release in which months. With that, I'm able to go into each month having some sort of an idea of what I want to write for that month. So when I'm sitting down for the first time with those characters, I already have a title and sometimes a trope, and then at the least a story premise. Let's start with the characters. How do I get to know them? Well, I typically do a quick Google search for images and find an image of the male main character and the female main character. With that, I'm able to imagine what that person looks like a little bit easier than trying to think of that person off the top of my head. So that speeds up a little bit of my time. Chances are the description of the actual person when it comes into the book may differ, but at least I have a baseline. It also allows me to be consistent throughout the book because I have a picture that I can reference for that character. After I have a description of both characters, I will then move on to other aspects of their lives. So I like to give them motivations, and I use something called One Stop for Writers. And with that, I'm able to get their motivations, their positive and negative traits for each of the main characters. Then I go into their story, kind of their story before the story. What is that person like? what are they doing, what type of career they have, some of their likes, dislikes, their birthday, for instance. I even go and look up zodiac sign details to get more of their identity flushed out. Some of these things may never come up in the story, but it allows me to be able to describe them authentically to them and stay consistent. So the notes are very helpful to have up front. Once I have that, I then get into their family background, mom, dad, siblings, anyone else who would be important to their story and the story that I'm writing. And I give a few details about who they are. Then I outline their friends, which friends should be coming up as secondary characters. These are usually very general and mainly just one of their main friends or a couple of their main friends that may be secondary characters. But I do not spend a lot of time going into secondary characters because I've found that as I write, secondary characters typically have a voice of their own for me. And when they do, and they're speaking to me, I allow them and their story to come out as it needs to accompany the story that I'm telling. Once I feel I have fleshed out the character descriptions, their background stories, their families, their friends, what they like, dislike, their zodiac signs, their birthdays, all those good things, then I move on to the plot outline. And for a 60 to 70,000 word book, I am targeting at least 20 plus scenes for my book with alternating POVs. So what that means is I'll start scene 1, and that will be the main character, their scene, and what is happening there. I'll do a separate video to go into more detail on how I piece together my plot and what details are important for each scene for me to be able to quickly write exactly what's going on. Because essentially what I'm doing in the plot is giving kind of the high level details of what will happen in that scene. And then as I sit down to write, I'm essentially just describing those high level points and giving a lot more detail, making it a little bit more fluffy and lots of description to get out everything that the story needs to tell in that scene. For those who are familiar with plotting versus pantsing, I started off writing as a pantser. I would just sit down at my desk, at my laptop, wherever I was, and start writing. And whatever came to me, came to me. And if you have been a reader or know of some of my work, you may be able to tell the difference. I will say improving my craft is an everyday scenario. I'm always looking to improve my craft, and one of those things that I can credit, which I believe has improved my craft, is plotting. It truly allows the story to flow as necessary. Now, I won't say that the characters don't like to throw in some curveballs every now and then because they don't want to always follow the plot that I have described for them, but at least gives me that map to which I can follow to get me from the beginning to the end and end up where I want to be in the end. But if anyone asks me, I will absolutely tell you the way that I can quickly write is having a strong plot, without a doubt. So now you're probably saying, well, how long does all of this actually take? It's about 4 hours. And that's with the character descriptions, the plot, and the blurb. Because once I'm done with that outline, I like to write out the blurb. Writing out the blurb is another pro tip that I'm giving you today. Writing the blurb before you finish your book is absolutely a game changer. At the end of your book, you have so many details and so many things that you could highlight in a blurb, but makes it very difficult for you to summarize. By writing it at the beginning of your story, you only have the little details that you've outlined, and that can be summarized much easier. Also, writing out your blurb will also test your plot outline to make sure that you have details that are worthy of a story. So, next time you write your book, write the blurb first before you even start that first sentence on the first page and find that you'll be able to get through that blurb a lot easier than if you were to wait until you write the end. Once I've done all this, I start my folders, which I keep all of my details for the story in, which include the document that I'm writing in, any images, and the final versions of the story, the cover, and things like that, and the vellum files. So I create those folders and I create the actual Word document that I'll be writing in from a template. That's another pro tip I will share with you guys in another video. I create the pacemaker project that I use to track my words each day. And then on day one, when I wake up, I am ready to start writing. Day one happens the day after I've done all the plotting and all of these things to get the story ready. On day one, I'm ready to write and I can finish that book within a month. I hope these tips have been helpful for you. And if not, drop some comments and let me know what would be more helpful for you to understand. As promised, I will go back and give more details on all of the things that I've highlighted in this video so that you have more details to use for your reference. And by the way, in this video, this is me going through this whole process. So you see I have up 2 screens where I'm going to gather all the details I need to outline my story. Again, this is J. Nicole, a contemporary romance author of over 40 books, and I hope this video and these tips will help you develop a consistent writing routine. If you like this content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you'll see future videos.